Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about 10 teams, 10 previous stable teams that have fallen off hard in this game. Now, I'm not trying to say they're not worth farming at all, or they're completely useless, or anything like that. They just have really fallen a lot from where they were. Just some criteria for what I'm talking about. These are once previously major teams, give or take within the past 5 years. I'm not talking about Biggs and Wedge. I'm not talking about like those old teams. Not obscure theory crafting teams, like commonly accepted major teams. Not talking about teams that were slowly consumed by other better teams that took most of the good parts. A great example of that would be like Padme. JMK took most of the good parts. Like GK, Ahsoka, I'm not counting that. I'm counting teams that were once more than just niche uses. So there's going to be some teams that you'll be like, I still use them, they're still useful, but they might just be a pretty niche use. And then really, yeah, just kind of looking within the past 5 years. So I have 10 teams. Let me know what you think, disagree with. There's other teams that you might say, yeah, they really fell off, but not really fitting into my criteria. So let's get started in no particular order. General Grievous really fits this mold to me. So he was once kind of a powerhouse, especially around the time Relics came out, which was 2019. That was a while ago. He was still relevant for a while after that, well into like, the early 2020s. But he really just does not have the same threat level he once did. I still see him all the time, and I just consider him more or less an easy team to beat in Grand Arena. Yeah, you might argue, okay, yeah, he's bad in Grand Arena, but in TW, he's got, the Droidic Omicron. That's true. So this is on my main account now. I started on my GoTex account, and now I'm on the main account because I have all these characters. Droidica somewhat helps keep Grievous slightly relevant in one game mode, although that game mode is increasingly irrelevant. This team, it was like nothing more than a cleanup team for me. Even if they get like a really dedicated Datacron, it usually doesn't even get them on the board and higher Kyber. And then for my GoTanks account, it's usually just a really easy counter, like with Wampa or something. They even added Stap like a couple years ago, not that long ago, with the GSE Omicron, and that he can help a little bit, but still, Grievous is not like a relevant team for a high-end Kyber match. Which, this is me saying, I'm not saying no one should farm them, that they're not worth it at all, but like, it's a team I see as completely skippable. You want Grievous built up somewhat for your Malevolence fleet, but the rest of them aren't part of the fleet. B2, B1, Magna Guard, Stab, none of them are pilots, so you don't need them. And it's just like really easy, skippable characters. So, sorry, not sorry, General Grievous. Next up is Iden Versio. So Iden herself is more relevant just because of her ship. And on my GoTanks account, even from 2024, I have a 2024 account, I gave her Omicron, and I kind of regret it. Like, I really just don't get much out of it. I only recently got her past gear 10 because of a token. But this team doesn't really cut it anymore. On offense, they never really had like much use. They were always kind of a defensive team. Wampa took care of that pretty easily, and there's just all kinds of teams that can beat them. As long as you can have reasonable buff dispel, get around taunts, or like revive prevention, they don't really get much done. They did, at least for a while, have a reputation as a good beginner squad, because it was pretty good in the days of needing to get carried through Galactic War, but now you get to level 85 so fast, the use cases just dwindle and dwindle. So Imperial Troopers as a whole, are having some issues, but Iden is just an entirely skippable team. Always been Grand Arena focused, never really been a big threat in TW or anything. I can't remember last time I used them in TB, or well, one area they actually do get some use is Conquest. So that is one thing. They have fallen off hard, but they do get some use in Conquest because anytime you can go first is really valuable. We don't have like Ruthless Swiftness data discs as much anymore. I haven't seen it like in the past year or something crazy. But if you have Ruthless Swiftness, you go with Iden first, and you go out in front of those crazy fast Conquest teams and do a mass swarm, and hey, you might be good to go. But realistically, in every other facet of the game, they are not really that worth it. Next one always hurts me to talk about, and I still think they are the number one beginner team in this game for unlocks, for just basic content, and some of the pieces are valuable, especially Captain Rex, but it's Phoenix. Phoenix has fallen off hard, even with Captain Rex there. So Captain Rex came out in 2023, late 2023, and another thing that makes them really fall off in PvP is Relic Delta. They really suffer from Relic Delta because this was a team that you could rely on for good mechanics and chop down some trees, take down Riva teams. You still can, in some ways. If you you relic up your Sabine, maybe, and Captain Rex is usually a lot higher relics for a lot of people. But with Relic Delta, their game really suffered. And they were like the prime example that people were using when they were complaining about the initial Relic Delta numbers, because they don't do a lot of damage. They just do little tiny hits. It's like 1,000 cuts win against like a Riva team. You just end up timing out because a lot of people have Riva at Relic 8, Relic 9. And for most people, and this is just kind of situational of like what people actually do. I think a lot of people had an army of Relic 3 Phoenix crew. And if you're like me, got them to Relic 5. It wasn't really a big priority to get to Relic 7. Now, I might, on this main account, get them to Relic 7, but their use cases are just way down with that 1,000 cuts approach. Because it was like everyone adding up to get the damage in, and you really have to invest a lot of relics into a couple units that not everyone does, which, is kind of a situational argument, but not really reliable on defense anymore. Captain Rex, I mean, of course, is more viable, or just as viable as ever. You can go with his clones, you can go all over the place. But the Phoenix crew as a team, there's just less niche counters for them on the board, given the quality of teams that have come out in the recent past. But there's still some uses. So, and TW, they have a little bit of mitigation with Kazera's Omicron is pretty good. But just my opinion, Phoenix have definitely fallen off significantly. Next team used to be the bane of my existence once upon a time, and it's Geonosians. You might say, hey, Geonosians are great in TW. Pogo's got his Omicron. I consider that a pretty niche use. They have pretty easy counters, even in old school Imperial Troopers, Piet Troopers, given the right setup. They're going to take them down easily. That's not exactly a big sacrifice in TW. But they used to be everything. I remember Geonosian Brood Alpha coming out. It was like, and this was granted in 2019, so that was 7 years ago. But even in the past 5 years, they were still pretty annoying on defense for the longest time. At Geonosian Brood Alpha, it was like, what do we do with it? They all attack every single time. They swarm. Well, those traits have carried on to a lot more teams now, and those are just overall better. This team, they're pretty flimsy on their individual parts. The biggest advantages they have is a six-man team. And Geonosian Brood Alpha still stands out. He still has a lot of uses. But the overall Geonosian team, not really cutting it anymore, especially not Granary. It's like a freebie all the way down to like probably Chromium. But it's just, and Watt Tambor Shards, it's valuable, but I think for anyone trying to get them only for that, you get them to Gear 12 and stop. You don't need to push them that much further than that. So yeah, Geonosians, I don't think there's too much argument there. They're definitely falling off. I think the argument would be more like, when were they super relevant? And I do think it is probably within my time frame, but they used to be super, super annoying. Not as much anymore. Next up, we are going back to Imperial Troopers, kind of the classic Piet Troopers team. So Piet came out, I think, like 2020, as preparation for the Executor come out. Like, they had Piet come out specifically because of Executor, and he happened to be pretty good with General Veers. Him and Dark Trooper were just pretty crazy, the amount of damage they could do. But a few things have happened. One, Imperial Remnant pulled Moff Gideon away. So it just depends who you have. I mean, there's good uses with Magma Trooper. So part of the team gets kind of pulled in a few different directions. Another thing, turn meter loops have become a lot less relevant. It's been a lot less about speed gates in this game and more about just raw power survivability. If there is an example, like there are examples that pop up where a team is designed in such a way that they don't have turn meter reactivity and they can get looped, but those are pretty rare. And when that happens, it's considered a defensive failure. It's like, oh, don't do that. Don't sit your team like this, because you can just use troopers on it, because they're a niche use at this point. What they got going for them? They're not locked behind Grain Arena or anything. They don't even have any Omicrons to lock them down. I don't think there's like any Omicrons required for this team to be working. But yeah, Dark Trooper, I mean, it's just, I've already stated it. There's just the teams are too good. Uses are rare. It's still a fun team in theory. I mean, with the Emperor's Trap Sacks coming up, and every once in a while there comes out like a really niche use that people get excited about. But ultimately, they're just not what they used to be. They have fallen off. One more thing about them to mention before I get attacked. Yes, their assault battle value is there, but you can do it all without them. Like, Jabba's a common farm to take care of Rebel Roundup. And then I personally got the Empire one done without them. And you can do it with Imperial Super Commando and Gara, which requires less than this full team. So even that, pretty substitutable. This next team probably hurts the most, because it is by no means a bad team. It is just fallen from grace. The CLS team, the strongest team in this video. Which goes to show this is not in any particular order. But what's hurt them is they are a quick burst team. They rely on getting in and out, getting it done fast. Not a full turn meter loop, but they do have turn meter advantage elements through Luke's lead, and is unique. And Han Solo gives himself a lot of turn meter. He gets the first turn, of course. So there's a lot of things going for them, a lot of assists. But the meta has just shifted so much towards that strength and survivability. Teams are just really hard to make. You can't go wham bam thank you ma'am and just knock a team out now, like a relevant good team. If you can, like Imperial Trooper counter, teams Imperial Troopers counter, it's considered a defensive failure. It's like, oh well, Commander Luke can beat that, at least in like higher Kyber. On my small account, they're definitely getting it done for me. It's definitely a team you need to farm, so I'm not trying to say that. But from where they were as like the perennial evergreen team that you're not gonna like lose out on in any area, like Grand Arena or anything, they've fallen off in that regard. They're still really valuable in TB, especially on their like Zephyr mission. They're still my go-to for that mission with the droids that you have to stun and everything. Still awesome in Conquest, so there's still a team that like I don't regret recommending beginners farm, because it is really important, and it also feeds into some important farms like Leia and Jabba, so it's definitely worthwhile. But considering how high it has been on a pedestal, it is sad to see how far they've fallen now. Next up, we got another team that I do think part of it is worth farming still, but we got Old Bad Batch. Omega and all, Hunter Lead, not the new Bad Batch, which I think that team's not that worth farming anyway, if you're going for like newer teams. But anyway, 3 of this team are absolutely characters everyone should get: Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker, even if you don't plan on running the team, because they are part of one of the best ships in the game, the Marauder, which really just makes the Galactic Republic fleet a definite top 5, top 6 fleet for high-end Grand Arena, which is still valuable. But like the types of teams they beat, like just aren't really there anymore. So what they excel in is control. You know, you get some buff dispels early. You need to have Echo go first, but that relies entirely on Echo's just base speed. Like, he just needs to be faster than people. I don't have him as prioritized 334, but people used to have him like 350, 360, 370. And there's just so many teams that through like abilities, leaderships, and all that just end up having a higher speed than you can get, or just have plus turn meter on a Datacron. So it just really reduces the use cases for this team where Echo can outspeed. And even then, like, you can just run up into a wall of like they're just too thick and too survivable. So it's like you dispel, you stun, and then if you can get defense up, then you can start whittling them down. They're great against like General Grievous, you know, Qui-Gon Jinn, but we don't see those teams as much on defense anymore. And there's just like so many teams, like it's strengthened survivability, power. It's like they just need to hold on a little bit. As soon as the other team starts getting turns, it's it's kind of over. So like your window is just really short. You just can't get it done as much anymore. Now I still love this team on my small account. Like I brought up Echo, I have these 4, and then run like our 5th random clone. Omega's not worth farming at all. But I'm in Kyber 4 now, and it's like if I find use, I'm happy. I'm like, oh good, I actually get to use them as like a reliable counter for something. It's not like, oh, obviously I can count on it. It might not be useful for, they might not be useful for anything. So Bad Batch, definitely, I don't know, I think they came out in like 2021, but they were definitely a really great team for a while and just seems like such an easy answer to so many things. Not so much in the present. Next up is a team I am not sad to see in this list included, because I never really cared for this Night Sister team. Before you jump on me, Java counter. Yes, I know. Niche. That's a niche use. Like, that is a very niche use. One, there has to be not that Java team. They have to set Java. 2, there has to not be any kind of datacron that gets in the way, which could be stats. It could be a level 3 ability. It could be a level 6. There's tons of things that can just make that not work at all. And then 3, even if everything's lined up, you have your Marin modded properly, your Tals and DACA is not always part of that. Like in 3v3, you don't want Zombie or DACA or anything. You want like Talia or something. I know that. Yes, I get that. But it's like, even if you have all that lined up, it can just, things could go wrong. They might kill Marin first, or they might not get a kill, or you might revive someone too early or prematurely, and Java won't kill them, and then you are going to time out, and you might have a lone Java there, but it's just very niche. Even with Marin's a pretty new character. She's like a 2023 character, and she's great, but she gets pulled over to the Great Mother side of things. The new hot Night Sisters, hot being used liberally in a gameplay sense. But this team, yeah, this is like not a team that's worth building at all. Like, not all these teams on this list are like not worth building. This is not worth going for it if you didn't have it like for a long time. Because even in like, there's the Dathomir mission in TB, you need Marin, but you run Great Mothers. This used to be the only way you could get that challenge tier 3 of Secrets and Shadows assault battle, but now Great Mothers as well. So it's like entirely reliant on revives. There's way too many teams that can just permakill you now. So in defense, they're really hard to get anywhere. And then on offense, it just mainly comes down to Java. And then in TW, if you're lucky, you're going to like take down a Grievous Droidica team, who's also on this list, this team that's fallen off. So I'm not really sorry about Night Sisters. I don't really like them thematically. I didn't really enjoy them that much. It was in Grand Arena until Marin came along. They were always going to be like bad banner-wise, but they have really fallen far. And the second to last team we have, a team I do enjoy. I did have a lot of fun with while they were pretty good. It's Qui-Gon Jinn. This has fallen into niche territory. It's always just been a Grand Arena team because Qui-Gon Omicron is the only thing keeping it together. Keller and Beck Omicron and TW, that I'll say is not like niche. I mean, that's like a TW team through and through, and it's still really, really good. So that does not qualify. The core is Qui-Gon, Anakin, and Cam. I don't even know. 4th and 5th are always like a toss-up. They have to be Jedi. They don't have to be Galactic Republic. All Galactic Republic benefits Anakin. So you could have like Yoda in there. I have Mace here. Keller and Beck just as a representative. You could have like even Plo for turn meter or something. But what they had going for them, first of all, when they came out, there was no anti-GL clause. And they just one-shot, like, Supreme their Kylo Ren. That was awesome. That was fun. That was so nice. But it's kind of like a CLS team problem, because they're not like a go first and mess you up. It's like, okay, Qui-Gon dies, then you die within 2 turns. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. There's just too much survivability going on right now. I think a lot of it's like crit avoidance. There's a lot of protection up all over the place. Just higher health and protection pools. They can't get it done. And then on defense, they're just a lot easier to control. They're pretty easy to control. You just dispels, stuns, or fractures, or offense down. It's easy to get Anakin to waste his big AoE, or you just let him do the AoE before Qui-Gon dies, and then he's doing basics, and they're not going to do too much. Plus, another thing that's non-gameplay related is Ki-Adi-Mundi is like the single hardest character in the game to get now, just from a gameplay perspective. The only feasible, real easy way to get him is to buy his Lightspeed bundle, which is paying money. Like, there's no hard money block characters in this game at all. Like, you can get them theoretically, but you would need to convince your super competent guild that all has a General Skywalker team built out really well, which any guild that has a lot of those players is going to do Rise of the Empire, because Rise of the Empire is significantly easier from a gameplay perspective. So doing Lightside Geonosis TW is just like, it's just like unheard of. Like, if anything, people run Darkside Geonosis, and when Lightside comes around, they're running Rise of the Empire. So it's just so hard to get them. Like, all 330 shards. I mean, like, how many TBs would you have to drag a competent guild into? The fewer members that have the gas team, the longer it's going to take. I mean, if you had all 50, like, it's baffling. I mean, you can buy it with an exorbitant amount of Guild Event 3 tokens. Okay, no thanks. He's just literally the hardest character to get. And then, like, if it's just Qui-Gon and Anakin, they're not really getting much done either. So it's just really, it's truly just fallen off. Like, I don't know what to do with Qui-Gon anymore. I barely use it on my main account. So, just not what it used to be. And the final team, one that I did really get to enjoy using for a long time, is Bosk Bounty Hunters, revolving around Mandalorian, Grief, and Zam Omicron. So this was mainly a Green Arena team. I mean, if it's outside of Grand Arena, you take Zam out. You can still use them a little bit in like TB, and you know, unlike a lot of other teams where I'm like, yeah, the Conquests are still good. This is a team that didn't really fit well for Conquest. They don't mesh well into that juice up stats world. They're all about like single target enemies, and it's kind of fallen to it like a niche use of like a hit squad for like a single big leftover target or something. Like, you know, Malgus is there, needs to go. Malik, Riva is alone or something, just because it's a permakill. It's relatively easy to get the contract if there's a lone target. But overall, it's just, no. Like, it's to the point where I would not recommend Zam's Omicron, just because, like, it was like one of the best, and now it's just like an afterthought because the team is not there. And there's plenty of other, like, you could splice in whatever you want. It's still probably not going to get it done. Yeah, I mean, Fennec would make some sense. I don't know if, like, I don't really think Forlom and Zuckuss really revived the Bounty Hunters overall. But yeah, if I was going to put someone else in, I'd probably put Fennec, just because of her 5 hits can really lead to contract pretty easily. But the only real viable Bounty Hunter team I think of as super useful is Jabba. This team just doesn't fit anymore. There's too many threats out there. It takes too long to get kills just by waiting for insta-kills. There's not really that much damage elsewhere. I mean, you could have Boba Fett in there, I guess. Fennec's got some damage. But, like, teams just won't wait around for that these days. Like, there's too many strong, durable teams that are just going to punish you for taking your time. So, really, really niche use case for Bosk Bounty Hunters. And that's it for me in this one. 10 teams that just have completely fallen off. And I'm also not considering teams that I never thought were that good to begin with. Like Boba Fett, Son of Jango. Never really a team that I considered super valuable. But anyway, let me know what you think. Disagree, agree, I'd love to hear it. So leave your comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.